people are tempted to do is to go straight for the crate.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be 6 to 8 weeks crate rest, and just like basically like prison for them, and how frustrating that can be. And then obviously the process of opening that crate is going to be at the whole next level of
absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, what we did with our dog and what I kind of recommend to people is teach them to relax and settle in a crate, but you want to kind of teach them kind of crate rules. So it's go in the crate and you kind of practice your settling with like the Kongs and the chews, and then you go in them and get them to wait a little bit and then introduce a Kong and then wait a bit more and then a Kong and a bit more and then get a Kong. So they start to learn to relax in there. But more importantly, when you go to open the crate door, if you move toward the crate door and the dog gets up, just wait for them to kind of just pause and move back. They don't have to sit. They don't have to get the bum all the way to the back. They just have to pause. So it's not a rush. As you start to open the door, if they move forward, just close it again and have a lead ready. So we're able to open the door and get a lead on our dog as soon as you open the crate before they've had surgery. Because that's a really key point afterwards, is you want to make sure that when you come over to that crate to let them out, that you don't have them wiggling around and dancing, essentially. So you can just get a lead on them so you can take them out into the garden on a lead for the toilet, because we don't want those rushing off in zoomies. The other option, the one that I prefer, is to kind of have a crated area that they can rest in, but kind of pen off like a little corner of your house if you're able to, because then you restrict their movement, but they're not stuck to a small one. And this will depend on the surgery, so go for the recommendations of your vet over which one is safer to do so, because you're still limiting their ability to run around, but they can still walk and they can still move and shuffle enough, because for some crates, some dogs, they can't really move, and if you've had surgery, sometimes they need to stretch out a bit more than they would do, or they want a different surface to lie on depending on how comfortable it is. So we kind of penned off like a corner in our house and had we had a fabric crate because I kind of preferred them, and we didn't have to worry about any kind of breakthroughs because he had that frustration and self-control that you mentioned. And then we would kind of go over there and stroke him and sit in there on the floor with him. And once he was kind of relaxed, we'd then use house lines. So we would bring him out of that area. So he wasn't confined to this area 24 hours a day. It's that if we can't supervise him, that's where he goes, where he's limited and he's safe. The rest of the time he was on the house line. And that's just like a really thin one puppy line. So he would come over to the sofa and we'd pick him up and put him on the sofa next to us, or he'd be on the bed on the floor by us. And the lead was there just to stop him from running off and playing with the other dog. It's even worse if you have 2 dogs, because the other dog will be like, come on, let's play. And your dog will want to play, and you need to make sure that you can manage that. So you have to do this kind of work with both dogs, because the other one has to learn that they can't come up and keep asking this one to play. And we don't want to end up with any accidents, because a dog that's in pain might be more likely to snap. Might more likely to guard some items, so we have to be very wary of that. And I really love puppy lines for that, because it helps to build in that restriction. And if you've done the kind of settle and self-control exercise using a lead, where you can put your foot on the lead and the dog learns, okay, in this situation there's nothing interesting going on, so I might as well just lie down and chill out with a chew or a Kong or something like that. It helps build that context, but this line means that nothing interesting is going on, so just chill out with my owner. And just lots of time just relaxing with them and have them sitting next to you and just gentle strokes. So that becomes the normal thing for them to do, and that's their expectation in that situation. And it's a lot of it with these young dogs, it's managing those expectations. The more they can predict what's going to happen, the less anxiety there is. And if they don't expect playtime or fun time and things, and they expect that this is a calming situation, then we're not going to have too many frustration bursts from them, because they're already able to calm, and it helps that emotional regulation. It's really difficult for our teenage dogs because they struggle with that anyway. But the more we can practice and utilize what we've got, so either cornering things off, using puppy lines, it just helps to restrict their movement. So they're still essentially on crate rest, but not necessarily trapped in the crate.